This is Dabu7. Important information here about this executive order that Obama just slid out there once again, and this is the type of stuff you will not catch on your evening news. They won't tell you that Obama just put out an executive order like this and explain the details of it. And what they're saying here, what he's doing is amending an older executive order 13112 that was put into place February 3rd, 1999. This is geared toward invasive species. They have created this group called the Invasive Species Council and also a committee behind it. He is ordering that they maintain this, that they grow their membership, and then he lists a group of positions that you have to be in to qualify to be able to be a part of this council. And they're all high ranking throughout the government branches and in all that. Impossible for any normal person out here in society to ever be a part of. But they talk about the eradication of this invasive species. Now, what they go on to do is mention climate change. They walk right into it. This is interesting because Al Gore just walked out of this meeting with Trump and said, oh, we had a fabulous discussion about climate change, but didn't give any of the real meat and potato details about what was said. What they go on to state is that from here, they can refrain from funding any business, any person, any project, if they say or they feel what you're doing can cause this invasive species to come about. If it has anything to do with, let's say, for example, a carbon tax or something like that, your emissions or something geared like that, they're going to try to come after you on it. They're going to say that you are providing a catalyst here, a pathway in, because they define that too, pathway, the way in. And they're going to cut the funding off. Bottom line there. And this is where it starts to get really interesting. One small section of this changes the verbiage from invasive species. And as you can see here in the executive order, you get down to this section. It defines and says that it's amending this executive order here, and starts to talk about what control means, what eradication means, the removal or destruction of an entire population of an invasive species. It explains what a federal agency means in this. Introduction, invasive species with regard to a particular ecosystem, a non-native organism whose introduction causes or is likely to cause economic or environmental harm or harm to human, animal, or plant health. Once again, over and over, invasive species. And in G, you can see the pathway, the means or the mechanism or the process by which a non-native species is moved, intentionally or unintentionally, into a new ecosystem, then prevention and everything else. But it's here in part F that they mention non-native or alien species. They mention this in the executive order. They can say, as in the form of an organism, which is what they're saying, an alien organism. With respect to the particular ecosystem, an organism including its seeds, its eggs, its spores, or other biological material, any kind of biological material that is capable of propagating that species to where it can launch and have life. That in all of this that occurs outside of anything here's natural range, any alien species that attaches to it to affect it, to make it change outside of its normal range. And they use the term non-native, but here is the only time they use the term alien species. And they throw it in there, and I wanted to point it out. Because their verbiage is key in what they're saying often. And they'll go on to talk about pathways, prevention, and this is all put into this latest executive order that Obama just put into play. As I said, they are now being ordered to refrain from funding individuals that go about doing anything that they say, and it ties right in to climate change. One key part. And then the mentioning of these non-native or alien species, exactly word for word what it says. And the introduction of that into an ecosystem and how will it affect everything else. In the one specific paragraph where it mentions the term, it zeroes in on the production of seeds, eggs, spores in any biological material that is capable of doing so, of launching life. It's rather interesting. So I will leave a link in the description box and continue to update, but I wanted to run over some of the details here and keep track of what Obama's doing here as he's exiting. And like I said, you won't hear the meat, potatoes, details of any of these executive orders in your mainstream news. It's just how it is. And that's why we keep on dropping the truth. I try to pick it apart the best I can. Shout outs to Eric for putting together a story here on iCitizens. I will leave links below. If you guys got anything you want me to get out there, let me know. Dapu7yahoo.com. And make sure you're following me on Twitter as well. Much love, y'all.